Some of the evidences which are in favor of natural selection is we know that organisms can reproduce at maximum rate given the ideal set of condition, but that seldom occurs because of limitations that exist in natural resources. And we also see the struggle or the competition that exists between members as well as between the organism and the inanimate environment around it. And we also see there are so much of variations around us. No two individuals are alike, even within, if you were to take a human population for that matter, there is so much of diversity and variety around us. So that is what even Darwin talked about. There's abundance of variation. And also, if man has been able to create so many new varieties of plants and animals, and man has bred over the years so many different breeds of dogs and breeds of cattle and poultry, etc. If this is possible by man over such a short period of time, in a matter of hundreds and thousands of years, then why can't nature do or create the magic of evolution over a period of millions of years? Is also another favorite argument of evolutionary biologists. And here you can also see some animals which are brilliantly adapted to their surrounding environment. Like, for example, you have organisms which blend into the background by mimicry and protective coloration so that they can escape predation. We also have a correlation, a very close correlation that exists between flowers and the specific insects that can visit the flowers and which can benefit from some of the rewards offered by the flowers, like for example nectar, and in turn the insects pollinate the flowers. So not any insect cannot just visit any flower and pollinate it. There is a specific insect pollinating a specific flower, and that shows a kind of co-evolution that has happened over the years. And if you look at the pedigree of some animals, like we discussed about the evolution of horse, that is also a proof, like how gradually, if you think of horse evolution, how the number of toes and the number of fingers got reduced into these splint bones gradually, and how today we have the one-toed horse, as horses walking on their single toe or the single finger being the third digit. So these are some examples, including human evolution also, which are excellent evidences in favor of natural selection, which was a Darwinian concept. And what is the criticism of Darwinian concept? Criticism of Darwinian concept means what are the demerits of Darwinian concept? Darwin could not explain inheritance of small variations. Sometimes minor variations may occur, say for example, in the size of the wing of different birds, and one cannot really explain in terms of Darwinism why such minor variations are seen. And sometimes an organism may exhibit an over specialized structure, like for example the elephant tusks, which are the incisor tooth, which become massive in size, and like the antlers of a deer, which become massive in size, with no clear advantage to the organism which is possessing it. That cannot be explained through Darwinism. Of course, vestigial organs make sense when you look at it from the point of view of Lamarckism, not from the point of view of Darwinism, because if an organ is existing in our body today without performing a function it is supposed to perform, from the Lamarckian point of view, you can say that it has, over the course of evolution, been put to disuse, owing to which it has ended up losing its function. But in terms of Darwinism, it would be like, why would we retain an organ which is of no use to us? So Darwinism cannot really explain vestigial organs. Darwin kept saying fit, fit, and fit. He said that organisms which win the struggle for existence are fit, but he did not say where did they become fit from, how did they become fit exactly. Today we know that fitness rests in our genetic material. It's our genetic material, a genetic constitution that makes us fit or unfit. Of course, Darwin did not talk about anything about the origin or the arrival of fitness. He also, like related to vestigial organs, he did not talk about degeneration of organs. And also, if you talk about some invertebrate some of the chordate larvae, like for example if you talk about ascidians, and even in frogs also for that matter, tadpoles have a tail but adult frogs do not have a tail. So there is degeneration which cannot really be explained from the Darwinian point of view. Discontinuous variation, which became famous as mutation, Darwin knew about mutation but he did not give that much of an importance to mutation. Today we know that these discontinuous variations or mutations contribute hugely to the process of evolution and the formation of new species.